Hello everyone and welcome back. In this tutorial, we are going to look at origins or pivots. So as you will see, in the center of the cube, we got a small tiny little orange dot inside that cube. This is the little 3D cursor. So that little small orange dot is the origin or the pivot point of our cube. So if I rotate, it will rotate around that pivot. So let's see what will happen if we create another cube. So I'm going to duplicate this cube by pressing Shift D. And I'm going to press Y to move it on the Y axis, just so that we have something like that. And maybe let's create one more duplicate. So I'm going to press Shift D again and Y and just move it out. You can see in the outliner, we've got 3 objects as well. So let's say I select all 3 of these cubes and I press R to rotate. Now you can see these 3 cubes are actually rotating around the center of these 3 cubes. And that's because there's a little drop down here at the top. If you point to it, it will say transform pivot point. And if I click that, you see that we have all these different options. Now, I just want to focus on 2 of these at the moment, and that's median point and individual origins. Now, by default, it will be on median point. You will see the little icon with the 2 circles with a point in the middle, and that's the default. But if we change this to individual origins, you will see the icon will change to 2 circles with the individual origins inside of each one. And now if I do a rotate, you will see that each object will rotate around its own pivot point. So let's set this back to median point, and I'm going to delete these 2 cubes. So let's go into edit mode and see how these pivots will affect when working inside of edit mode. So with the cube selected, press tab on the keyboard to go into edit mode. And what I want to do is I want to create some inset and extrude. So make sure you are on facelift mode. And I want to select all of these faces. And then I'm going to press I to create an inset. Just press I again and that will create individual insets. So we have these inset faces on each of the original faces. Next, I want to extrude them all out in the correct directions. So remember, we can't just do a normal extrude because they are all facing different directions. We need to use the Alt-E shortcut, and then we are going to click on extrude individual faces. So let's just pull them out until we have something that looks like this. Now you can see we still have all these faces selected, and now what we can do is let's try and scale it. So with those faces selected, I'm going to press S on the keyboard and I'm going to scale inwards or outwards. And you can see this scaling is using the center pivot of the object to scale them. I'm going to press escape to cancel that, and I'm going to change this pivot from median point to individual origins. So select individual origins and now press S again and see how they will affect the way it's scaling. So now you can see that each face is scaling around its own origin or all around its own pivot point. The same will happen when we do a rotate. So I'm going to change this pivot back to median point and I'm going to press R to rotate. And I can see all those faces are rotating around the center of the object. But if we change this to individual origins and I press R again, you can see now each face is rotating individually around its own pivot. Sometimes you want something to scale or rotate like this, which is around the center of the object. And sometimes you want it to use its own pivot so that you can maybe scale it up like that, or maybe create like a sharp point like that. So for this tutorial, just remember that you got this drop down at the top and you can toggle between individual origins or median point. See you in the next tutorial. Bye.